Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Bayou Chronicles. We're your host. I'm Crystal.
And I'm Bethany.
And first off, wow, you guys, our social medias have kind of been blowing up in the past 2 weeks. Well, blowing up by our standards, maybe not other people's, but we're really thankful. We've been getting a lot of attention, a lot of interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting a ton of new friends in the Bayou family. So, welcome. Settle in. We hope you stay. We hope you like us and want to be friends. But seriously, though, thank you guys so much for all the support. We have people, whether it be friends, family members, or some of our listeners, reaching out all the time to give us new cases to discuss, new stories they want to hear more about. It makes it even more special to discuss topics because when we know y'all want to hear about it, we know that you're going to be listening to that episode, and we always hope we do it justice. I mean, at least
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like today's case, for example, Bethany's mom actually gave us this super cool poster that we hung up in our little studio in Bethany's house. It basically has like folklore for each state in the whole United States, and it's really cool. And we were kind of wanting to do more folklore cases, and so we sat there and Bethany looked at the map and I was on the computer and we just started writing
Mm-hmm.
down all the cool ones. And
Basically.
today's case popped up and it is actually from the state of West Virginia. We're going to discuss the folklore that surrounds the Mothman. So cue spooky music in the background. I don't know if you've seen the Mothman prophecies, but like get on that
Mm-hmm.
level, get ready. I'm going to pass it over to Bethany, but before we get started, if we have any weird audio issues, apologizing in advance. We are recording from our own respective houses this week, so just keep that in mind so you don't roast us that bad.
Yeah,
But
okay, you're gonna roast us, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say you can roast me, because I know I sound yucky. I've been taking care of a house full of sick people, and we've been quarantining, and I'm just trying to keep this away from everybody, so this is how we're making it work this week.
because we
But
can't go a week without giving you guys an episode, of course.
I know. And I'm glad we chose this one, but I still want to make sure we do an episode about Oklahoma. I've already forgotten what it is, but there's something in Oklahoma that some kind of octopus or something.
Yes, I think
No,
it was. I think
I
it was
don't
Oklahoma.
know.
Was there was an octopus somewhere, and it was very strange.
Me and
But
Crystal keep wanting to do it, and I keep forgetting to look it up. Out of all the places, an octopus in Oklahoma. Anyways,
I just have
anyways,
so many questions.
yes, I do too. But all right, let's jump on in. And I just want to start out by saying, since I started researching for today's episode, I've had an influx of moths in my house. I
That's weird.
I know. But like subconsciously, I was like, is this a weird coincidence I've never noticed? Have these been in my house all this time and now I'm just noticing them? Is it
I've never
maybe
seen moths in your house before.
right? And they're like everywhere now in my house. But now I'm like, okay, maybe, it's kind of getting into fall. Maybe they're coming out, but I don't know. Anyways, maybe Mothman's here for some weird reason.
I hope
He's
not.
in the closet with my sweaters.
Phew.
Anyways, okay, I'm gonna set the mood here. It's November 12th, 1966. A handful of grave diggers. They were digging graves. I don't know how else to describe this
I mean, that's what they are,
scene. That's
right?
what they are. That's what they're doing. It was late at night. I don't know why they were doing this late at night. That seems like a really weird time to be doing this in a cemetery. Really, really spooky and creepy. But there was like 6 or 8 of men out there digging graves. I'm assuming there was a big influx of dead people. I don't know. There wasn't really a lot to this story. It sounded, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This story starting out sounded a little made up, but here we are, c'est la vie. Anyways, during their work, a few of them noticed like this massive creature kind of watching them from the treetops. And then they described it as kind of like gliding from tree to tree very fast, quickly. And first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, it's a bird. Okay,
It's a bird. It's
it's
a
a,
thing.
yeah, it's Superman, something. Probably not Superman, but no, that's not what first came to their mind, which is kind of odd because I know me and Crystal are more kind of logical. But they describe it as a creature being as tall as an adult male. To put this in perspective, let's set the scene more here. Think to yourselves a man on the top of a tall tree, jumping from tree to tree.
Absolutely not.
That's really
Number
hard to
one,
explain.
it reminds me, and this is the opposite because this creature would have been short, but it reminds me of that video of the neighborhood that says there's a leprechaun in the tree.
Oh my god, I can't. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's got. Yeah, and that was Alabama. That was Alabama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
that's.
Oh, Alabama.
I mean, that's basically the same thing, just smaller. So, oh god, now I'm not gonna be able to look at Mothman the same. Now I'm just gonna think about Leprechaun. Anyways, and then this next part, I included it because this came from their actual statement, and I felt weird saying it, but anyways, but they're assuming that it was like 6 feet tall, and somewhere between 6 to 8 feet tall,
Like
giant
how
man
wait,
creature.
how can you not narrow it down between 6 to 8 feet?
Right?
That's 2 feet.
So if I saw it, like Zach and Tyler are about the same height.
Yeah.
They're about the same height, I would say. And I would probably be like, it was as tall as my husband,
Yeah.
or it was as
It was
tall
as
as
tall as
this.
me or what.
6 to 8 feet. It gets better. Like, really, before I did research, I was really on Mothman's side. And now I'm just like, anyways. Anyways, this is the next part that was really weird. This is their exact words from their. They described it as a large brown human being.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Wait, but I have so many questions about this statement.
first
Brown is in like
I don't
hairy
know.
brown?
I don't know. First, I felt very racist writing this down in my notes. It just felt very racist. But you're right. Were they talking about skin color? Was it fur? Was it feathers?
Oh my gosh, I need more
But
like
that's how they
I need to
described
know
it.
more.
They described it as a large 6 to 8 foot. That's 2 feet. That's a really big difference. Brown human being. Okay. Okay. That's a
Okay.
very confusing way to describe something. Okay, but I mean, they could be just like Crystal said. She said fur. They could be describing Bigfoot.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's what came to mind. Got it in my notes. I'm like, maybe Bigfoot can fly. Who are we to say Bigfoot can't fly? I mean, I don't know. Has anybody sat down and had a conversation with Bigfoot? No. Have
I
we
mean,
seen
someone
Moth?
probably out there thinks they have, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Have we ever seen Mothman and Bigfoot in the same picture, the same
no.
time?
It
No.
might be the same person or thing.
Suspicious. Yeah. Anyways, and
I
then
think we just started a new conspiracy
we
theory.
did, and oh my god, are there so many fan fiction websites for Mothman that I fell just like Crystal falls down the rabbit hole on Reddit. I always find the fan fiction weirdo websites on Google. So,
I wonder if there's a
anyways,
Mothman Tumblr.
oh god, there probably is though.
I love it.
Women out there that like write love letters to Mothman.
They fantasize
If you're out
Mothman.
there listening and you're 6 to 8 feet tall and
And you're a large brown
brown,
human being.
God. Anyway, so they couldn't get the height right, but they specifically described the wingspan as being 10 feet apart.
Okay,
Okay.
that's oddly specific, but okay,
Okay,
thanks.
we got the wings down, but apparently not the person. But
So,
what
so, so, just to confirm though, that we know that his wingspan was longer than he
he
was
was,
tall.
yes.
Okay, okay.
So
I'm here for it.
maybe that's where they got the number.
Don't know, but
I
okay,
don't
got it.
know. But when you really think about it, when you put all that together, that really is terrifying to think about. I mean, you're out there doing your job. They may or may not have been high. This sounds like a story of somebody that was probably under the influence.
You know what this reminded me of as soon as you started talking about it? Whoever was talking about doing mushrooms in our D&D group
Yes.
and said that we should
Yeah.
go to the creepy cemetery and do
Yeah.
them, and we all said
Yeah.
no. This sounds like
Mhm.
what we would see if we
We
did
did
those things.
mushrooms. Bigfoot jumping from tree to tree with wings.
Because
Yeah.
you cannot convince me that
Mhm.
this is not something that someone saw
It's
on drugs.
Oh, it gets better. Yeah. I'm telling you, Mothman's really believable when you don't research it. So,
It also kind of feels like, from what you've described so far, it like makes me feel like what I would think Dracula looks like.
mm, yeah. I mean, yeah. And
Big wingspan, jumping from tree to tree.
yeah, and when Crystal uploads the little like flower we always do on Instagram when we have a new show, I'm gonna or an episode. Jesus Christ, we have a new show out apparently. When we have a new episode, I'm gonna make sure she puts, and I'll probably upload one to Twitter too, of the Mothman statue they have in Point Pleasant.
Oh my
Man,
gosh.
yeah, I mean, I get
Is that the
Dracula
one
vibes.
that you like told us to look at that had like a six pack?
Yeah, the one I told you that Donald Trump like sponsored
Yes.
one of the festivals. Yeah,
Yes.
he's a Mothman believer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so great.
Anyways, yeah. All right, let's get back on into it. I know this is all over the place, but okay. So Crystal's first thought was Bigfoot, which I did have it in my notes, and it was in my mind too. But my thought when I hear Mothman is Jeepers Creepers, especially since it's like in
Yes.
West Virginia. This is like a farming town, country town. And I that movie scared me so bad as a child. Even at 27 years old, that movie still
I
terrifies
remember
me.
not being able to like being allowed to watch it.
No, I mean, well, our moms were kind of different. My mom tortured me to watch. Not really tortured. Please, nobody call. I mean, I'm an adult. You can't. But um, anyways, we watched a lot of movies like this, and that one for some reason, like I've watched all the scary ones, and this one really creeped me out. And even when I was watching some of the documentaries for Mothman, it really made me feel like, I don't know, Jeepers Creepers. Like, he only comes around every so often, what is it, 27 years or whatever it is, 17
Mhm.
years. And they kind of look similar, and it's just creepy. But yeah, I think I'd rather picture Bigfoot, because to me, Bigfoot isn't scary. For,
No.
for some reason, Bigfoot is not scary to me.
Seems like a cuddly little friend
But anyways, it's West
that could
Virginia.
eat you.
Yeah, possibly. We don't know. And he may or may not know how to fly.
Yeah, never
But
know, never know.
let's picture it. It's West Virginia, and we got this giant flying creature. It terrorizes a few people. Then it flies off to its farm and starts getting work done because it's West Virginia. But I mean, that's not as scary, is it? So, but that's how some people describe it, as like they have some theories of Mothman might actually be somebody from West Virginia, but
I
that's not
mean,
as
it's
scary.
West Virginia. I mean, it's West Virginia.
And you
What?
guys have to blame my husband for this part, because I had him help me with research because we're on quarantine. Well, this was before quarantine. We watched Mothman prophecies together. And I'm like, okay, we're stuck. We're not gonna aggravate each other. We're gonna work here together. I'll help you do whatever, which I can't help him with his work, but I was like, you can help me with mine. So it's kind of a one-way street, but you get what I'm saying. So he helped me with research, and he made all kinds of jokes, and I texted Crystal about it. And yeah, he made it just way less scary. He said, what if Mothman is just this dude running around in a mascot's uniform? And I was like, this is why we don't this is why we don't bring you on the show, because it's supposed to be a scary episode.
That's reason one why we don't bring him on the show. Reason two
Yeah.
is that it would no longer be a PG-13.
PG-13. We'd have to put all kinds of disclaimers and mature content, and you'd hear lots of bleeps. But I don't know. It did make me laugh because then I was just picturing, because it was kind of creeping me out because we watched Mothman Prophecies, and when there's a book, and I actually kind of want to buy it now. I've never read
I've
it, but
never read it either.
I've watched the movie several times, and it's based off that book from the 70s.
Mhm.
And when you watch the movie, it does creep you out because there are some weird, like, coincidences in history and life that have happened. And there's a lot of people that have swore that they've saw him. So when you watch the movie, it does kind of creep you out. So, I mean, and then he just kind of, like, came in and made it a little more, like, doable to research and stuff, because I'm just picturing this dude running around in a moth suit, and then he was like, well, what if it was a person that just had, like, a dummy on a wire and they were flying it through the trees? And I was like, you're thinking too logical here, but that is a possibility. I mean, if they're trying to create something to bring people to their town, this is the perfect opportunity. But I mean, but when you got to think about it, it just keeps happening, and more people in Point Pleasant began seeing this strange creature, and I feel like I want to say something else besides Point Pleasant, and I think I want to say Point Pleasure, and that's just a whole different episode.
Don't know if that's right up our alley,
I
but
don't know why. Anyways, but I've basically come to the conclusion that me and Crystal need to travel to Point Pleasure.
point
Uh,
pleasure.
God, I even wrote it. See, I wrote it in my notes. I
I'm
literally.
loving it. I'm loving it.
Anyways, you
Hey, if it makes
guys,
you feel any better, the next time you mention it after this, you wrote Point Pleasant again. So,
thank God. Anyways, I'm so sorry if people from the actual town listen to this
I
episode.
wonder if there's anybody that actually accidentally calls it that or like
Cause my
replays it.
mind, I don't know. Maybe
I
I'm
don't
very.
even know why point pleasure is what you want to say. It's just so random, but I
I
love it.
don't know. Anyways,
I do think we need to travel. We need to make a
yes.
plan and have like get one of those what are they called? Like the little things. What are they called that you hook up to the back of your car and it's basically a place that you can sleep and live in?
Oh, RV.
Yes, an RV. Thank you.
Yes. Or
We need to,
or like a camper trailer.
yeah, we need to get
Yeah.
one of those and we need to
Yeah.
make a plan to visit all of these festivals and cool
I
haunted
agree.
places and
I
then just go on
agree.
one big trip.
I agree. Because I mean, we've got to attend the Mothman Festival. I mean, they got this giant statue with six-pack abs.
I really want to see that in person so
God,
bad.
it's just and the whole team is themed around Mothman. The whole town is themed around Mothman. So, like, anyways, and if you go to YouTube, because you guys know I love YouTube, and if you want to watch Mothman Prophecies, I actually rented it for I think $2.99 on Amazon. It's not on the Prime, but whatever. You got what you get. But if you go to YouTube, there's actually a few documentaries. There's some like random people that you can definitely tell have never really seen Mothman, but they're gonna make you believe they've seen Mothman.
Yeah, I
Got
know
they
those.
Yeah, they got some videos on YouTube, so watch those if you want. It's just funny to watch. It's great. Maybe they just did it for like satire. I don't know. But BuzzFeed actually took a crew and they went to Point Pleasant. Whew, said it right. It's such a cute town. They got a coffee shop, they got a pizza place, they got a few other places in town that literally revolve around Mothman. So, I mean, that's pretty smart though, because weird stuff like this is happening and it's still continuing to happen. I'm air quoting, you guys can't see me. So why not capitalize on it? Monetize it. Let's bring in some tourism. Let's, have some fun with it, even though supposedly people are being terrorized. So, anyways, I'm
Hmm.
definitely judging, but
Hmm.
I still want to go visit because
I think it was cool. I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
I mean, why not? Like, if
I guess so.
your
I
town
mean,
needs to make money, so why not just capitalize off of it? I
yeah,
mean, you could argue that Roswell does the same thing.
they do. They actually mention Roswell and stuff. But I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Robert the Doll. I mean, people
Oh, yeah.
they go to Key West to see Robert. I mean, in the museum and go to the house and all that. So yeah, it is. But the reason I said that is because when the BuzzFeed crew was at the pizza place, they interviewed some local people, and they were like munching on pizza, and this lady was like telling this tale about how a lady in town almost had her baby snatched up by Mothman.
Oh my gosh.
And that's like a really scary story, and they're just all munching on pizza, and I'm like, this is a really weird situation going on, guys. Like, you're just describing a 6 month old almost being snatched up by Mothman, but hey, let's have another Mothman pizza. It was just weird, but I feel like maybe they're just like desensitized to it because
That's the only thing I can
I
think.
don't know, but I don't know, it was a little weird, but anyways, and like I said, I watched Mothman prophecies before I started doing my research. I feel like, well, you guys already know, Crystal reads all the books, even though I definitely want to buy this book now and read it. And then I normally just watch whatever I can get my hands on, so I've definitely watched that. And like I said, it's really creepy. Well, it's supposed to be creepy. It's a Hollywood movie. I mean, what it's that's what they do. They take these movies and they run with it, and they embellished the storyline a little bit. I mean, I can't say because I haven't read the book, but I've found from research that they did kind of embellish a little bit of it, and they gave Mothman more of a demon persona. And without reading the book, you can tell that's not what the author John Kill was going for, because in his book and from statements that he's given, he actually thinks Mothman is an alien. So
Oh.
yeah, but
Hmm.
in the movie, I mean, to me, they did make Mothman seem like a demon. I mean, it kind of felt like that, or some kind of, I don't know, maybe the devil or something. But yeah, John Kill, he actually thinks Mothman is an alien from a different planet that has come here to kind of give us warnings on stuff that may happen, these prophecies, if you will. So that was kind of an interesting spin on it. And you guys know I love aliens, so that's another reason I really want to buy this book now. Um, because I'll be honest, I thought it was just a movie. I didn't know there was actually a book. I know that sounds very ignorant of me.
But
Um,
I'm the book person, you're the movie person, so
yeah,
it's okay.
I mean, I've seen the movie tons of times, and when I did the research, I honestly did not know it was a book, and it was written in 1975. That was a pretty good while ago, but yeah, that I feel like that's a theory that I didn't consider, but really should have been my first consideration because everything should be aliens. But, anyways, but that first sighting was on November 12th, 1966. And once that first sighting happened, more and more people reported seeing Mothman. It was like the domino effect. They first saw him, and then like everybody in town started seeing Mothman. And it's really crazy how differently he's been described. Y'all remember how we described him in the beginning of the episode? We had a wild ride with that. It gets better. And we're really gonna have to upload a lot of pictures. There's so many different pictures of supposedly of what Mothman looks like. And some have reported him as having no arms or a head.
Then how does he have a wingspan?
Okay, thank you. I didn't put the wings in my
Do
notes.
do do the wings not have like do the wings just like have hands attached to him so he doesn't need to do anything? But how would he like pick up a child?
Well, if the wings just come out of his back, that wouldn't be.
But
I
still,
know
like
what you're thinking. Like the wings are attached to the bottom of the arms or whatever.
yeah,
But
but
if
even if they do come out of his back, wouldn't he need arms to pick things up?
it's up, yeah. Yeah, especially since he supposedly tried to snatch up a baby.
Okay, I don't understand the head part either, but we're gonna
Okay.
move on.
Okay. All right. So no head, no arms or head, but it supposedly has red glowing eyes. Okay. Crystal just picked up on the wings thing. That was very good. She should be a detective. But I'm trying to picture how he had red glowing eyes without a head. Are they just like floating there?
Maybe.
Are they coming out of his neck?
Maybe he doesn't always have red eyes.
I don't.
And when his eyes aren't red, they just like
Which is
look
interesting.
black and like he doesn't have a head or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's interesting because the statue they have in the middle of the town, he has arms, he has a head, he has red glowing eyes, he has six pack. I don't know why.
I don't
I
understand
don't
the
know
six
who.
pack.
I don't know who added that in. They ran with it,
I guess
but
someone like fetishized this
moth. Yeah,
Mothman and they were like, "Oh,
yeah.
you know what would be hot if he had a six pack."
Oh hell yeah! It's one of those women that wrote in a love letter. Can you please just make him a little chiseled? That's all I'm asking of you.
Just so when I drive by him every day, I can see that six pack.
I mean, if you live in town, you gotta look at it every day. You might as well make it nice. You don't want it to have no arms, no head, and like
I
a.
want to hear from someone who lives there and how much they make fun of it because you know they do.
Can you picture it with like a beer belly?
Oh my god, that's what I want. The dad bod.
That's what I'm picturing. Anyways, this report actually came from two couples driving down a back road located near the hazardous material plant. Okay, this place was described like five different ways. It's a hazardous material plant, it was a TNT plant, which is kind of the same thing, but also not because, anyways.
Basically, the place could kill you.
It could, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, but it was like on the outskirts of town. And you know how I was talking about the gravediggers might have been partaking in some extracurricular activities?
Yes.
I feel like these people were as well. This was the 60s,
I
guys.
mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
everybody was doing a drug, and if you weren't doing a drug, you were probably lying about it, or you were just a goody
anyways.
two shoes.
So it was November 15th, 1966, and this was just 3 days after the first reported sighting. And it was kind of in the same area, not really, but kind of. But I don't know. In some of the descriptions, it happened outside of town. It happened on the opposite side of town. But anyways, we're going with this. We're rolling with it. It was two couples, like I said, in a car. One couple was Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Mallet. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Eh. Um, they were in the same car together, and it was the fellas in the front, ladies in the back. That's kind of rude, but whatever.
I guess the ladies
Um,
wanted to talk to each
talk,
other.
yeah, I guess. Anyways, I figured couples would sit with couples,
I thought I would, but I don't know, whatever.
anyways, the dudes were in the front, ladies in the back, and they were actually the ones that saw this creature. I almost said unidentified flying object, but that's not the same.
I mean, kind
Kind, I
of
mean,
is.
yeah. But anyways, they are the ones that look. I don't know what made them look back. Now that I'm thinking about it, because they were driving forward and they just happened to look back and they saw this creature flying
I mean,
behind
I feel
them.
like that's something kids do because I remember doing
Yeah.
that a lot as a kid. Like, I would, like, look behind me.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like if I, which it's been a long time since I've sitting in the back seat of a car, but I don't think I would look. Anyways, we're thinking too much into this. The ladies look back regardless, whatever was floating through their mind. They look through the back windshield, and that's pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. And let's just set them a little more. You're out, maybe doing these extracurricular activities on a back road with your friends.
Maybe having a drink or two.
Yeah, who knows? It's the 60s. We're not judging. You look out the back windshield and you see this giant creature flying directly behind your car.
Absolutely not.
That gives me Jeepers Creepers vibes, and I
Oh, yes.
totally would freak out if I was them. So, how they didn't wreck, I don't know. because I definitely would have had some swerving action. But apparently they kept driving, trying to get away from it, and they said that the creature kept up with their car, going like 60, 70 miles per hour. That's pretty creepy. I'm trying to think, can birds fly that fast? I'm acting like I know.
I have no idea.
I'm acting like I know anything about birds,
I
and
was
I
thinking about
don't.
it, but I have no idea.
I don't either. Anyways, I feel like
Maybe,
now I'm
maybe
not.
there's birds that fly really fast.
I'm not confident now. I was before it came out of my mouth, but now I'm not. Anyways, it kept up with them for like several miles, and then apparently it just disappeared out of nowhere. Um, but yeah, that's. I'll be honest. That would freak me out. That would, even if it was a bird, that would be kind of creepy. But a lot of the locals and even those native to Point Pleasant, thank God I haven't mispronounced it. I'm trying really hard not to say what I said earlier. Believe maybe the creature was made from the nuclear power plant. See, it's
Oh my god.
described, yeah, like these people describe this place as like 5 million different things. Anyways, we're going to call it the TNT place.
I feel like this is like they're trying to make it the beginnings of like a superhero origin story.
They really are. Like, they 100%.
Now I need to like I want to like Google Maps and see what's on the outskirts of Salem because like why would there be a random nuclear power plant?
Supposedly, it was something that they tested stuff for the military.
Of course.
They like held stuff there as well, but it was like closed down and it wasn't used anymore during this time. But it was like described as like 5 million different things, and I'm like, which is it? So we're just gonna go with the nuclear power plant, TNT, whatever hazardous material place. So, anyways, it's on the outskirts of town where apparently all this spooky stuff happens. Um, and like Crystal said, and I have it in my notes, that sounds like the plot of Spider Man or some other superhero movie. Don't get too logical. I know Spider Man got bit by a spider. Okay, folks, don't be writing in. I know my superheroes. But, anyways, the spider got infected. So that's how he infected Peter Parker. Anyways, moving on. Kind of like when the professor added Chemical X by mistake and made the Powerpuff Girls. I mean,
Yeah. Great show,
I
great show.
yes, that was one of my childhood favorites. I had to include it in there. It was honestly the first thing that came to mind when they kept mentioning that. They mentioned the TNT place a lot because I really do think the locals believe that this Mothman was some kind of bird or something that was mutated, because they mention this place a lot. Like, even when BuzzFeed went to Point Pleasant and like
Mhm.
interviewed the locals, they kept mentioning this place. And I'm like, okay, these people really think that this hazardous material has done transformed this bird into a moth. Anyways, or a moth transformed into a man. Whatever. But I mean, we come in contact with radiation every day, basically, in some shape or form, and I don't think we're going to turn into some kind of. I mean, I would love to turn into a superhero, but
I don't want to turn into a
I don't.
Mothman.
Yeah, I don't want to turn into a Mothman.
I'm just really confused if the moth got
Yeah, now I'm
radioactive
confused. Yeah, they
and
say they think it's a bird, but if it's a Mothman, wouldn't it have been a moth that got mutated?
there's a lot of holes in this. There's a
This
lot of
is
holes in this story.
See, this is why it's
This is
hard
one
to
of them
believe these
stories.
people.
This is one of them stories that you like, oh yeah, that's real. I believe in Mothman, but you never research it because if you research it, you're not going to believe in
It
Mothman.
ruined it for me, honestly. I mean, I'm glad we did this episode, but it's ruined Mothman for me because I really was like, wow, yeah, maybe these people have been being tortured all these years. And now I'm like, this is a dummy on a string being thrown around trees. And I don't know. I'm like, how can he steal your baby if he doesn't have any arms, ma'am?
Well, maybe he like scoops him up with the wings or like he just grabs it with his mouth that's headless. I don't know.
Oh
His
Lord.
headless
See, you gotta
mouth.
put too much thought in it to make it make sense. Anyways, another more plausible explanation is, like we were just talking about, is the theory Mothman is simply a larger than normal bird. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
a few have theorized a sandhill crane, which, if you look up, sandhill cranes are actually pretty large to begin with. So, can you imagine if maybe one was born maybe a little bit larger than normal? It would be a fairly large bird. Or an owl. Um, if you've never seen an owl in person, they're not relatively that big. They can be kind of big, but they have really big wingspans. So I could see it, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of felt like it was maybe they just saw something and ran with it. So this is the theory that kind of makes the most sense for me. But what if it was just a bird? Does that mean everybody's lying, like we've kind of been talking about? Do they really truly believe they've been seeing Mothman all these years since 1966? Apparently, there's been sightings before that, which is crazy to me. He's even been linked to mythology. I didn't research that far into it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. People were really stretching, but I mean, there's, like me and Crystal have talked about, there's a 12 foot, y'all, 12 foot tall statue placed in the center of their town for this Mothman. They have held a Mothman festival every year since 2002.
That's crazy, though.
That's dedication. Now, if this isn't real and they've just been running with it, that is dedication right there. A statue, a festival, you got places in town that literally run off of the idea of Mothman pizzas and coffees. But this is the one that people, I'll be honest, believe the most. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe in Mothman. And the biggest theory is that it was just mass hysteria, which makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to kind of give you some examples. Think about when you sit down to watch a scary movie. Even if scary movies don't really get to you, some scary movie is going to get your attention in some shape or form. And afterwards, you feel a little uneasy. Maybe you're the type of person that puts on a Disney movie. If you are, we're the same. Um, Maybe that pile of clothes in the corner looks like something spooky with the lights off. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you leave your doorway open and you feel like you see a shadow and it's really not. Maybe it's your cat or your dog. Um, and then you make a Facebook post that you saw a monster in your room last night because you didn't take the time to actually see that it was a pile of clothes, or it was just your mind running away with your imagination, or that thing you saw in the hallway was your animal or your child. We've all been there, people. Um, and then the post gets shared a handful of times, and each time more and more details are added because nobody can share something on Facebook without putting their 2 cents into it. And boom, a local monster is created, and there you have it. You have the local monster pile. I don't know. It's
The local monster pile.
stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying that none of this didn't happen, but we have the tendency to see stuff and freaking run with it. So these grave diggers could have saw this crane or this owl and maybe freaked them out and flew through the trees, and it, could have been Bigfoot. We're still not positive on that. And then they went into town and told people, and then it really freaked them out that they saw this man jumping through the trees. So then their psychosis got to them, and then they look out their window and they're like, oh my God, did I just see the Mothman? And then they go and tell somebody else, and here we have everybody in West Virginia seeing Mothman. So it's a good theory because I'll be honest, it happens to a lot of people. That's why Facebook sucks, and I keep mentioning it. But it's like It's the news too. You see something on the news, and even if you don't check it, you automatically believe it's so, and then you start seeing it too. So it's a good theory to go on. But I know me and Crystal want to know what everyone thinks because we love it when you guys write into us. I promise. We even like the ones of you that when we ignore you on YouTube, you email us to tell us in our email how much you hate us. It's still an email, and we still like hearing from people because, yes, that
I
has
still think
happened
it's
to us.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't respond to somebody on YouTube, so they emailed us. Ew.
I
That's
think it's funny.
that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Anyways, do you think Mothman's real? What about I want to hear from you, Crystal. What do you think? What's your theory here?
Um, I think Mothman is along the same line as that whole leprechaun I was talking about at the beginning. Like,
Oh Lord.
I think it's just people saw something and their brain couldn't make sense of it in that split second, and then other people were like, "Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen that," or "Yeah, I saw something creepy there," and it just kind of went like on, and it never really stopped. And I don't think it's real. I think it's really cool that this folklore crazy story has became a book and then a movie, but I don't think it's real.
It's
I
kind of
don't
it's kind of hard when you get a book written about you and then a Hollywood movie made about you and then you have all these reporters and such and then you have a festival. It's kind of hard to go back and say, "Sorry guys, Mothman's not real."
I
You kind of got
think
to keep going with it.
I feel like I am more apt to believe that Bigfoot is real than I am Mothman. Because at least there's pictures of Bigfoot, supposedly.
I mean, there are pictures of Mothman, but all the research I did, they said all of them are photoshopped. And the
Yeah.
one picture they do have that's not photoshopped, it's a bird, it's a crane.
Oh God.
So yeah, I
So
mean,
see, like
researching Mothman it'll ruin you. You realize how fake it is. But I that is sad though because I don't feel that way about Bigfoot. I for some reason I really think Bigfoot's real. Judge us all you want,
I don't
but
know that Bigfoot is real, but
I'm choosing
I
to
like to
believe.
think he is.
Yeah, I'm
I think
choosing
it's
to
a
believe.
cool I think it's a cool thing to think about.
Like I laughed when I after I did research on Mothman, but like you do a little research on Bigfoot, you're like, it could be, but I mean,
I believe in
uh-uh.
Bigfoot just as much as I believed in that ancient human race that lives in the mountains near Bigfoot
Oh Lord,
that we talked about in the YouTube
yeah.
video that people either I don't know, I don't have you seen the videos the comments lately? We got a couple good ones. And then there was a couple people like I saw another couple like recently people defending us in the comments. So I'm just like
Oh, good
I
for
don't
y'all. Good
like
for
y'all
y'all.
going
Thank
crazy.
you.
But that video I talk about this tall well, I'm gonna be honest, everything that I found kind of described them as this Aryan looking people, like
Oh
tall, blonde hair, blue
Lord.
eyed. It was very
Oh
creepy,
Lord.
very children of the corn. But
Oh.
they all live in the mountains and they're
Well,
like
dang,
this
I feel
advanced
attacked.
race. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I promise I'm not Aryan people.
But that's what it reminded me of.
Oh,
It's just
ew.
crazy.
Ew. Yeah.
Like crazy people just coming up with crazy theories that are just there to, I don't know, to
Anyway.
create a thing. I mean, if I'll be honest, I've done this. Like I've created a thing. Like
Oh Lord.
me and some friends, we there's a road in Bossier called I guess it's called Modika is how you pronounce it, but we changed the pronunciation to Modika And we found this old abandoned building like off of the road, and we called it the Modika Station, and we like kept posting about it and kept like saying stuff. And then like probably like a year ago, like I had like randomly was on some website and I heard someone like mention something about Modika Station, and I was like, wait, we came up with that. And so I don't know how we spread it enough, but I haven't heard about it since. I don't even know if it's still there. But yeah, so I've done it, like the whole spreading a rumor about scary stuff. So
Oh Lord.
maybe I can find Modika Station and
Oh
take you to a
Lord.
Bethany.
Crystal's always got some kind of why. I'm convinced, y'all. She said she was a good homeschool
I never
girl.
said I was a good
And
homeschool girl.
and it's like slowly she keeps telling me these wild things she did with her friends. And I'm like,
Look,
who are you?
I was a horrible child, and I will fully admit that I never even had a curfew until after I turned 18.
Well, that's because your mom was so cool.
She was. And so on the weekends, when me and Russell, who, if y'all don't know, is my uncle who's a few years older than me, we had this very similar friend group. And on weekends, we would probably stay out to 4 or 5 in the morning, like
Oh my goodness.
consistently. Like, and
Oh
our
my
thing was,
goodness.
I'm pretty sure Russell can remember this if he's listening or if his wife is listening. We would get home at 3 or 4 in the morning, and we would be at my grandparents' house, his parents, my grandparents' house, and we would make tuna fish sandwiches at like 4 in the morning, and we would eat them and then go to bed and then struggle to go to church the next morning. So, you know, that was the
Oh my
life.
gosh. Crystal's a hoodlum, y'all.
We
You
were,
heard it here.
look, I was very much a hoodlum. I have no idea how I was not arrested several times for trespassing in
Oh
several places
man.
across this great part of the state. So,
Lord.
I was a hoodlum.
Well, that's all I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed my dog barking downstairs, my children running back and forth because I know they're standing outside the studio.
Saying, "Mom,
Yeah, waiting for
Mom,
me. That's
I
all
miss
I've
my
got.
boys."
I know. You guys don't understand. This quarantine is terrible because me and Crystal literally see each other a couple times a week.
It's bad. And when I had to
So,
quarantine, it was still hard. I don't know, it
no,
sucks.
I know.
I
But
was
anyways,
already telling the girls at work that I need to find something to bring the boys because I miss them so much. They need presents.
oh Lord,
They don't need presents, but they need presents.
oh Lord. Anyways, so yeah, that was Mothman. I'm so sorry if I ruined it for you, if we made it less scary. But you can still make your own ideas. Don't let anything we talked about on the episode today steer you away from what you believe. That is never our intention. I just know it personally changed my perspective on Mothman. But
Same.
yeah, write into us, email us, message us on Instagram, which is Bayou underscores Chronicle. Um, but yeah, I can't wait for us to upload pictures that we can find on the internet, especially the statue.
With the
Um,
six pack.
oh man, but yeah, that is all that we have for you guys for this episode. We hope you have a great week. Thank you guys for being patient with us. I know this episode is probably all over the place. Is probably not going to sound how we normally sound. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks. Have a good night.